Hi guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. My name's Nina if you're new here. And if you already have watched some of my videos, you know that I love Starbucks. I'm not even picky, but they just built a Starbucks right by my house. And then, if you haven't tried the oatmeal yet, try it. It's good. And I'm gonna keep telling you guys every video. Alright, so today I really wanted to talk about forgiving yourself and forgiving others. But something's on my heart to talk about alignment with God. I just posted a prayer on TikTok, I think 2 days ago or yesterday. And it's about aligning yourself with God and just seeking God's presence. Something's just telling me to express my thoughts and share my prayers on that. So I'm actually going to film another video tomorrow. I keep saying I'm going to film twice a week and I'm slacking. So I apologize, but I'm definitely going to film another video tomorrow about forgiveness and just forgiving others so that you're able to move forward in life. So today we're going to talk about alignment with God and kind of how to seek and get in God's presence. Also, I try to mention the books that I use in every video. So real quick, In God's Presence, a daily devotional by Bridget Marie. It's on Amazon, I think for like $15 or less. It just has a date and a prayer that goes with it, and it also includes a Bible verse. Next, we have Hey God. There are these prayers that I post. It's volume 2 by Solomon Jordan on Amazon, just because volume 2 has way more prayers than volume 1. And if you get volume 1, volume 2 already has those prayers in it. And then lastly, I got my journal from Target that you guys see that I circled the date at the top. It's brown and it says thoughts on it in gold. But I have written a prayer for every single day of the year, like last year. So I used all the pages in that. So now I just have this book, and it's from Walgreens. I just liked how it said date at the top, and then it has the same like kind of spacing as my other book. And then also I am creating an Instagram page, just because we don't know what's going on with TikTok and stuff. And all of you guys that are following me on TikTok and have come to my YouTube are begging me to post prayers every single day. So we're going to figure out, I'm going to make an Instagram page. And then I'm also thinking about doing like an email chain. I have to figure out how people can subscribe to it, or like how you can attach your email to a chain, just so I can send prayers every day. So if anybody has any thoughts or information that they could share with me, just to like start a big group instead of like using people's numbers, or like once I make an Instagram, I can make a huge group and I can just send out prayers every morning and every evening. So just let me know. All right. So as you know from my previous videos, I like to start my videos with a prayer, have our godly talk about it, and then end with a prayer. So if you want to shut your eyes and bow your head or just watch the video, the title says God didn't move. The Bible verse is from Psalms 145, 18 through 19. It says, "The Lord is near to all who call on him, to all who call on him in truth. He fulfills the desire of those who fear him. He also hears their cry and saves them. If anyone turns a deaf ear to my instruction, even their prayers are detestable." So just real quick before I finish the rest of the passage, to be God-fearing means you are so fearful of what God may do in your life. Sometimes we fear the prayer that comes out of our mouths because we don't want God to remove something that we're so attached to. I learned that recently, surprisingly. And I prayed on something and God took it from me. And I know that that was God's will to align me with what he has for me, for my life. And I was heartbroken. I didn't want God to take that away from me. And so moving forward, I started to kind of fear God, because I'm like, I need to really think before I pray on something, and I really think before I ask God to do something for me. Because sometimes when you ask God to do something for you and you think it's going to benefit you and make you happier, God might remove a person or a thing from your life, and then you're going to go through a season of sadness just because you didn't realize the exact words that came out of your mouth. God will move when you seek him, but you have to be ready for God to take things away that you might be comfortable with, or you might have an addiction to, or you might have a hold on something. You just have to be careful what you pray for, but you have to pray intentionally. So that's basically why people fear God, because God can change your entire life in a split second. If you pray and you're intentional, God will move. So the passage says, God has never left you. He's always near. When you can't feel God or hear his voice like you did before, guess who moved? You did. God is always near, even when it feels like you are alone. God is always near, even when you can't hear his voice clearly. God is always near, even when you turn your back on him and place him on a shelf sometimes. I'm going to pause right there because recently I was kind of discouraged about a few things. I was almost embarrassed to talk to God just because there were things that I needed, and I was nervous to say, God, I need this. I didn't want to ask God for too much. If you've watched other videos, I have stated how you can literally sit by yourself. You can be in your bedroom, in your car, at work, in a bathroom, in your living room. And what I do is I get into God's presence. Sometimes we are pulled away from God's presence, but I learned in church, when you are being pulled away from God's presence or you have no desire to pray, that is because the enemy is taking you away from God. The enemy wants you to fail. The enemy does not want you to pray. The enemy doesn't want you to get into God's presence. So recently I was a bit discouraged about some things. I had to figure some things out, and I was scared to get in God's presence. I was embarrassed to tell God what I needed and what I wanted or hoped for him to do. And it's like, God already knows what you're going through. God knows what you have and what you don't have. So I started praying to God saying, God, you know what I have and what I don't have. So please supply me with what I need, So it was like, I wasn't talking to God because I was embarrassed, as if God doesn't already know certain things that we may be dealing with or certain things we may need help with, So even when you feel alone, God is always near. Even when you turn your back on him, God is still there. I turned my back on God. I did not get in his presence the way I normally do. Yeah, I said, thank you for waking me up. Please help me and my family and friends get to all destinations safely. But I didn't sit down. I didn't dig deep into my heart. I didn't have any tears fall. I didn't get into God's presence the way he knows that I get into his presence. So I felt just ashamed of myself, because why are you so scared to get into God's presence when he is the only one that can make a miracle happen? Just let that sink in. So he's always there, even when we put him on the back burner. This passage ends by saying, we like to say what God isn't doing, yet we are the ones who aren't positioning ourselves in his presence like we should. God didn't move. He's always near. You have to position yourself to get into God's presence, not only when times are tough, but also when you are having some of the best days that you've ever had. Thank God. Thank God for bringing you through the mud. Thank God for getting you out of that relationship. Thank God for getting you away from that friend that was using you. Thank God for bringing you closer to siblings or people or experiences that he knew you needed to make that light spark again in your soul. Just thank God for being able to be alive and have a roof over your head and breathe. There's so much to be thankful for, even when you are going through hell. I'm going to just talk about another passage that I read, and it stated that if anyone turns a deaf ear to my instruction, even their prayers are detestable. Meaning there are instructions given to you daily by God, right? You will either choose to be obedient to those instructions or disobedient. The more you adhere to the instructions given to you, the more you will see God work on your behalf. So the more we listen and when we ask God for signs, I'm sure you have asked God for signs and he has given you a sign. And then you're like, that can't be a sign. That couldn't have been from God, even though it answered the question that you asked God. Sometimes we ask a question and we don't want it to be answered in a negative way. You might have asked God, is this person for me? Show me this sign or this sign. And he shows you the sign stating that person is not for you. And you're like, no, that can't be true. Give me another sign, God. So now you've spent a week and a half asking God for signs when he gave you a sign the first day you prayed on the situation. So it's like, be obedient or be disobedient. But when we are disobedient and we try to lead ourselves, we ultimately lead ourselves to destruction. You need God. He created you. He created your soul. So it's like, why would you even want to lead yourself in this life and lead yourself towards something that isn't even for you, but you have no idea because you don't talk to God the way that you should? Why not seek the Creator's presence and get in his presence so that you can be aligned with exactly what, who, and whatever place or wherever you're meant to be is aligned with you? Why not ask God, show me the relationship I should be in. Show me what true love feels like, even though it may end in heartbreak. Show me what job or experience I need to go through to learn what I'm asking you to teach me. Show me what friends I should be around and who I shouldn't be around. You can even ask God to show you both sides of something just so you can learn and grow from it. God might put you in a situation where you're with a group of friends that is going out drinking, clubbing, smoking, getting blackout drunk every single weekend. And then maybe 2 months later, something sparks in your mind, and now you're with a way more calm group of friends. Maybe you might even be by yourself because you ask God to show you who to be around and who not to be around. So sometimes we end up going into a season of isolation because God really wants you to get close with yourself. But God did show you what situation and what people you shouldn't have been around, you know? I feel like that was a mouthful. I'm sorry. You can run it back and rewind it and just re-listen to what I said if you need to. But moving forward in this passage, it says, you see, we want everything to go according to our plan, not taking into account that everything ultimately goes according to God's plan. I feel like I just said that and I hadn't even read this line yet. We want everything to go our way so bad that we lead ourselves. Instead of getting into God's presence and asking, like, of course, we're not going to say, God, what hoodie do I wear today? Like, let's be realistic. But if you have a major life decision or you are going through a time and you just keep overthinking, that it's pure chaos, it's filled with confusion, it's not from God. Or maybe God is putting you through a season where you need to learn, but you're so confused and everything seems so chaotic because you have yet to just take a second to just breathe and talk to God. Like, yes, we have kids, we have jobs. Some of us work 2 jobs. We have to put food in the fridge. We have to bring kids to sports games, or maybe you have a nephew or a niece or multiple. Maybe you have people that depend on you, but take a second for yourself. Take a second for yourself and talk to God. Just ask God to help you slow down if that's what you need. Just ask God to bring you clarity, because sometimes we are so all over the place that we lose sight of what we are even supposed to be doing. We help people so much that we've lost control of ourselves. That's one of those Airwick air fresheners. That thing scares the heck out of me sometimes. But yeah, so like, I'm a helping person. I love helping people. I just genuinely care about other people's well-being. And those are the people that are closest to me. But sometimes you do have to say no. Sometimes you can say, I'll let you know. Sometimes you have to say, just give me a second and I'll give you a call later. Give that time to yourself. And when you do, even if it's 1 to 2 minutes of your time before your phone starts buzzing off the hook, get in God's presence and just ask God for a second of his time to bring you clarity, okay? The next line says, your prayers are important to God. He hears you and will act accordingly. You have to make a choice today. Either you will listen to God or you will listen to the desires of your flesh. If anybody didn't know, God made spirit before he made flesh. One thing that is very difficult is we try to follow, I can't even talk. I'm not even going to cut that out. We try to follow the desires of our flesh. We should be tapping into the spirit first. Tap in with God first. Maybe you think someone's cute. Maybe you want to hang out with someone and don't know what it's going to lead to. Get in God's presence first and ask God to please make sure whoever he's bringing into your life is pure and genuine. Ask God to remove lustful thoughts from your head. Ask God to bring good, genuine, pure people into your life. We tend to chase the desires of our flesh, even when it comes to money. You just want more. Hang on. How about you take a second to be grateful for what you do have? There are people that have no money. There are people that make less than you. There are people that make more than you. But this is your story. This is your life. So be grateful for what you have been given thus far, you know? You could be making $20 an hour. Someone could be making $45 an hour. Someone could be making $3 an hour. Don't compare your story to someone else's, because if God wanted you in that position, either or, good or bad, you would be in that position. I like to remind myself, and I want to remind you guys, you are exactly where you are meant to be at this point in your life. Whether you are struggling, whether you're doing amazing, whether you don't know what tomorrow will bring, you are exactly where God wants you to be at this time. And a lot of us, if we're going through a tough time, all we do is question God. God, why did I lose my job? God, why can't I pay for this bill? Why did you put me in this situation? Why? Why did I lose my job, can't pay a bill, don't have a car, and you took my boyfriend away from me? Why? Slow down and take a deep breath. Get in God's presence. You can't harass God and ask why when he's trying to when God is trying to teach you a lesson, you cannot just keep saying why, because God's going to keep giving you reasons to ask why until you learn the lesson. We are put in certain situations over and over and over again until we learn a lesson. If you attract manipulative, controlling, just rude, disrespectful people, and God keeps trying to yank you out of that situation, but you keep disobeying God and you keep putting God on the back burner, and you have a bad day with this person you're involved with, and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And that's the one day you talk to God, but then a day later you're back with the same person. God's going to keep putting you through that lesson until you learn to take yourself out of it by yourself. So yeah, the desires of the flesh can just get deep. So it's like, if I ever have a desire, or if I ever like feel like I'm talking badly about somebody, or if I feel like maybe I shouldn't use this person to fill a void, or maybe I shouldn't go to this place with these people, maybe I shouldn't do this, and I just start overthinking, that's the flesh trying to lead you to do things that your spirit knows you shouldn't be doing. So at times of confusion and chaos, that is when I like to get in God's presence and just take a breather and ask God, where am I supposed to go? What should I do? Should I cancel this plan? Should I not? Should I hang out with this person? Should I not? Should I, I don't know. Should I be in this certain atmosphere? Now, I just want to talk about the alignment with God. This is the prayer that I wrote in my little journal here. And I just write these from the heart. Like sometimes people ask where I get my prayers from. Do I have a book? And I just write them down. No, I promise you, I sit down, I turn off the TV, I put my phone in the other room, I say a prayer just to get my day started, and I ask God to get into my presence, and I ask him to speak through me. I truthfully ask God to speak through me for myself and speak to me and let me know whatever I need to hear and just write it down. And then I also ask God to speak through me and work through me to help you guys on the other side of this screen just to get through anything that you may be dealing with. So truthfully, this is God speaking to all of us just by me using a marker to write down my thoughts. So this is a prayer for alignment with God. I pray that when God calls you, you listen. I pray that you start to realize when you can't feel God or hear his voice, it is not because he moved, it's because you did. I pray that you understand God is near even when you feel alone. Even when you turn your back on God, he is near. We just talked about this. Today, I pray that God answers your prayers. I pray that you stop questioning God and start trusting that he removes things and people who are no longer aligned with you. I pray that God corrects you and prepares you as he walks with you to the places that you talk to him about. In Jesus' name, amen. So I just wrote down to end that, I pray that you trust God as he walks to the places that you talk to him about. We sit here and just our hearts desire a lot of things. You may have this dream to be a millionaire. You may have this dream to open up your own business. You may have this dream of going through school and getting your degree and becoming whatever your heart desires you to be. You may have wanted a friend in your life for the rest of your life, but they're no longer in your life. You may want children but can't conceive them. You may want a parent around, but they're no longer around. You may want friends and siblings and cousins to always hang out with you, but that may not be the case. The thing that you have to come to peace with is not only are you exactly where you're meant to be, but you are your own soul. You are on your own journey. So everyone else is as well. If someone else is praying to God to align them with who and what are meant for them, if that means subtracting you from the equation, even if you think you're an amazing person, you have to come to peace with it. Maybe you were only meant to be in their life for a season. If you pray to God to remove who and what are not meant for you, that may cost you a job, a school degree that you thought you were meant for, but God said, you're not meant to be a doctor. I want you to be an engineer. It may cost you a friendship. It may cost you a parent. It may cost you your house. It may cost you your car. God will remove who and whatever he needs to once you start asking him to align you with whatever his will is for your life. Sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow just because we get comfortable. Say you have a best friend of 10 years and then all of a sudden you start praying and you start really getting in God's presence. Things start coming to life and then that friend is no longer your friend. It's crazy how life works because that friend could have been in your life whether you needed them or they needed you, or they could have been in your life because you were leading yourself and you were choosing the people you wanted to hang out with. And God said, no. Now that you finally got in my presence after 10 years, this person is not meant to be in your life anymore. And it's like, why do you want to lose someone you were so comfortable with? Why do you want to leave a setting you were so comfortable in? Why do you want to be fired or let go from a job that you thought you were doing so good at? You loved the atmosphere. You loved seeing just your coworkers or your patients or anybody coming in and out of the door every single day or every single month that you would say hi or bye to. And it's like, God, why did you take me from that place? God says, because your time there is up. You did whatever he needed you to do. You learned whatever God wanted you to learn from those people or from the setting or from conversations you might have had with strangers. Maybe you needed to cross someone's path just one day a month for 3 months and then God removed you. Maybe you had to hold the door for somebody or that person needed that gesture of kindness just one day and you never see that person again. Isn't it crazy when you really start to dig deep? It's insane. God uses you where he feels fit. God will put you in people's lives for you to teach them a lesson. There have been times that I've talked to someone for 2 weeks and then they become a stranger. I never speak to them again. And I'm like, this is an exact explanation of don't question God. I have gotten so strong in my relationship with God. So say someone comes into your life for 2 weeks, a friend, a coworker, somebody that you met at a store and you exchange social media or whatever. Say you talk to somebody every day for 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks is up and this person is just gone. You text them, text might go through, it might not, but you never hear from them again. This is where I'm getting at. God puts you in people's lives for a reason. Maybe that person needed my kindness. Maybe that person needed a prayer. Maybe that person just needed to hear something that God was speaking through out of my mouth to this person. So it's like, don't question God. Just tell God, thank you for using me. People aren't using you. God is. Even when it hurts, even when you feel heartbreak, even when you feel sad and you shed tears and you're like, why did I lose this person? Or how dare someone use me like that? Back it up. God is using you and God will continue to use you because you are a vessel. So I no longer question God and say, why would this person do me so dirty? Why did this person treat me like this? And it's like, yes, we realistically have to remember there's an enemy that tries to trap our hearts, that tries to confuse our minds. We do have to realize our hearts are deceitful, meaning our hearts will lead us places that our minds know we shouldn't go because we care so much. Or, oh, I just want to stay with this person because they're just so sweet. No, they're not. Let's get realistic. So yes, you can be realistic and say, oh, but there have been times where I've gone through things and I know they weren't from God. God is always near. I said it in the prayer. Even when you feel like you are alone going through hell, God is always right there. God sees everything. So you are going through terrible times or nightmares because God is on the other side waiting for you to make it out. Something that I wrote on my prayer board in my room says, God will push you to the edge, but he will never let you fall. I shared that with one of my brothers too, and he was like, that is so good. But you have to remember, God gave you the strength. God created you. So God gave you enough strength to go through and endure whatever he is putting you through, whatever obstacle comes your way, whatever heartbreak that you experience, whatever loss that you experience, any type of nightmare or terrible feeling that you feel or something awful that you go through, God gave you enough strength to go through that and make it out on the other side. It may feel like you are going to just crumble. You may feel like there are days where you want to give up and you're like, I can't do this anymore. Turn to God and ask for his strength. I have had days where I'm like, I can't take it. Like, what am I going to do next? I've been so strong, and stuff is still coming at me like rapid fire. It's like waves, like you're standing at the beach and you're like a little further out than the shore and waves are crashing you down. You keep falling and then you're laughing and you're getting up and you can't breathe and bam, you go back down. That is sometimes what life feels like. And it's like, God, I can't even catch my breath. Things are coming at me so fast. And you're just so stressed out, you don't turn to God. You don't get in God's presence and just ask for his strength. You may be getting in God's presence and saying, God, why am I going through this? What lesson are you trying to teach me? As you should ask. Ask him what lesson he's trying to teach you, but don't be afraid to ask God for strength. God will give you the strength to keep going. Jesus didn't stop when that cross got heavy. You have to keep going. If God didn't think you could handle it, you would not be going through it. You wouldn't be. You are so strong. And I just want to remind each and every one of you that has subscribed to this channel, just because, like I've said before, I share prayers that I write for myself. I share prayers that I ask God where I ask God to speak through me to you and myself. I share prayers that are very vulnerable about things that I'm currently going through or things that I've gone through, which are probably why tons of you comment and say, I'm bawling my eyes out, or woo, this hit hard. I see every comment. So it's like, oh, I know it hit hard because I was probably crying while I was writing it. Just because someone smiles, just because someone laughs until their stomach is in cramps, just because someone is always happy and is positive and seems like the strong person of the family or the strong person of the friend group, I still want each and every one of you to just check in on the happy people in your life. Of course, give a hug to the people that may be sad a lot or maybe crying a lot. Or if it's you're the strong person and everyone depends on you, and you're like, I'm going through so much and nobody even knows, give yourself a pat on the back. Continue to watch my videos just to get yourself through it. Continue to pray my prayers that I share with you because you are seen and you are heard. Whether you watch from a distance or you support from a distance, as long as my prayers are reaching you and they are helping you or giving you the courage to just keep going, that's all that matters. Even if I lose out on subscribers, but you still watch my videos, I'd love for you to subscribe just because you'd be notified like whenever I post, and I feel like my videos could really help you. But if for some reason you don't subscribe and you watch from a distance, I still appreciate you. You never know what someone is going through, and I say this in every single video. You just never know. You could be around someone that is laughing and smiling every single day of their lives, but they're going through hell on the inside. So just check on those people. Check on yourself. Do some self-reflection. Talk to God. I really appreciate you guys. This video was so just transparent because I barely edited the video today. I just had this feeling to just talk about this stuff. It was on my chest to just get some things out and just to give you guys encouragement. Let's end with a prayer. Just because I don't want to be like, peace. But yeah, just keep going. Make sure to check in with yourself too. Ask yourself if you're okay. And if you're not, then try to do something that will make you happy. Take care of you first. If you don't love yourself, you could never possibly love someone else. So sometimes I just open up my book and I say, God, please help me and the people on the other side of the screen hear a prayer that you needed us to hear. A prayer for closure. So I'm guessing if anyone's going through a breakup, if anyone's experiencing a loss, if anyone just got fired from a job or maybe lost someone they were close with, maybe you just have thoughts and you're overthinking something and you've gotten no closure from someone, or you just don't understand why something's happening and you really want to understand, here's your closure. Hey God, help me to accept what happened. It's time to let go and move forward. I don't want to live in a fantasy of what could have been, should have been, or would have been. I want to walk by faith to the places that we talk about. You have taught me that it didn't work out is not the same as it will never work out. But you have also taught me that you remove who and what are not meant for me, and you align me with who and what are meant for me. And anything or anyone that is meant for me will never pass me by. In Jesus' name, amen. This is the end of today's Godly Talk. I really, really hope you enjoyed it. Everything was just from the heart. We touched base on a few prayers. I showed you the books that I use, and then everything else, we were just chatting it up. Just make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification button. You'll be notified every time I post. I'm going to link my Instagram in the description just because I'm going to get started posting my prayers on an Instagram page. And I did say this in the beginning of the video. I'm going to either try like an email chain where people can like add their email and I send out prayers every morning and every night, or maybe Instagram's the best way to go and just create like a big group of everybody and I can just send the prayers in every day, and I can like turn off the reply notification so it's not like thousands of people keep replying. All you guys can do is like my prayer that I share. But yeah, I appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for everyone that's coming over from TikTok to subscribe to the YouTube. If you don't even have me on TikTok and you're subscribed on YouTube, head over to my TikTok. It is Nina with 2 A's, a period in the middle, Thomas with 2 S's. That is the exact same @ name that my Instagram will be. So, thanks.